Hi, everybody. How are you? My name is Ryan Anderson, and I'm the Associate Dean of Entrepreneurship and Business here at Mohawk College. Thanks for joining us today for a center snackable session. Today, we're going to talk about two items. Number one, taking risks, and number two, the art of failure. There's no entrepreneurial vision and venture that does not have both of those, both risk and failure. Joining me today are Nasir and John. Nasir and John are long-established entrepreneurs who have enjoyed both, and I really want to make sure that we listen into some of the tricks of the trade as well as the experiences they've had today. So, without further ado, Nasir, can you say hi, introduce yourself, and then we'll go to John.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. As mentioned, I'm Nasir Ishmail. I'm the owner of Wet Paint Cabinet Painting. Obviously, as the name suggests, we specialize in resurfacing kitchen, bathroom cabinets, that sort of thing. Started this 15 years ago after a corporate life of about 18 years. Decided to try something on my own and found something that nobody else was really doing at the time. And we've been able to grow it from there. Been a bit of a journey, obviously, and Ryan, you've known me for a long time, so you've kind of known a lot of it. But yeah, started out in my basement, and a couple of kitchens here and there, and we're up to 5 or 6 a day now is what we're doing, and just enjoying it, just as much as I did from day one. So it's been a great journey, but that's what we do.
And I tell you, from the very humble and scary origins that you started with, to be doing 5 a day and looking at different growth strategies and stuff is a real testament to yourself as well as the people you've got behind you too. And it's something I know that you're very well known for as well, Ness. John, good afternoon. Thanks so much for taking the time. Can you tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll get started?
Thanks, Ryan. Again, thank you for the invitation again. My name is John Rocchetta. I'm the president and owner of The Beat Goes On. We are used music, movie, games, and collectible stores. We have 9 retail locations across Southern Ontario. I have been in business for myself for the past 30 years, and we are lucky enough to still be a viable business, whether it's physical or online. And like I say, we're a true niche market, and we are, again, lucky enough to have the longevity to still be here today. So, and I appreciate, again, the invitation and look forward to the conversation.
Oh, John, we're so lucky to have both you and Nasir talking about both risk and failing, the two things that are just so important to entrepreneurs. John, why don't we get started with yourself? Can you talk about a time when you did take a risk within your business? What was it? How did it work out? And what did you learn?
Probably the largest risk that we ever took on was when we decided to franchise our concept. And we spent a fair number of time and a lot of capital to put a system together in order to expand where we'd hope to across the province and eventually across the country. And franchising is a great way for a business to expand, but it also, you need to understand, is your business franchisable? And I learned the hard way that our concept was not franchisable in order to for the franchisee to make an income and the franchisor to make an income. And we learned the hard way through a lot of conflict and a lot of trial and error that we weren't cut out for the franchising game. And I came home one night from a meeting that I had with a franchisee that was almost probably 2.5 hours out of town, and traveled back home. And by the time I got home, it was probably almost 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And my wife's like, "Wow," she says, "you look beat up." And I said to her, I said, "You know what? I'm done. Tomorrow I call my lawyer and I call my accountant, and this whole franchising thing will either buy the stores out or shut them down." And that was probably the best decision I ever made. And from that point forward, we haven't looked back. We've been totally corporate, and we've had a lot better success that way.
It's interesting how, when you started franchising, it probably was, you're taking risk, because that's what entrepreneurs do, is they take risk. And I think, to your credit, you knew when to sort of fish or cut bait, right? You knew
Correct.
there was that breaking time when you said, okay, this is not a good business venture. But I also sense as well, John, that you knew this wasn't a good venture for yourself as well. And we've talked in other sessions that as entrepreneurs, you are your brand, you are your business, you're your best employee, and very often you're the worst employee too, if you're not well and you're not in a good spot. So I really picked up on the fact that you had to make a decision based on a lot of different things and just business too, didn't you?
Yeah, it was bringing the whole organization down.
Mhm.
And a great man once said, when you're in a hole, stop digging.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to do. Stop.
That great man wasn't Nasir, was it? Because I don't want to give him credit for something so special. But
He
yeah.
probably gave me other advice that I don't want to repeat. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, me too. Actually, he has over the years as well. Interesting, Nazar. How about yourself? Thanks so much, John. By the way, I really, the franchising world and model to me is fraught with opportunity and danger, and you lose so much of your business. There's an emotional side to it. It's tough to give it away as well if you started something from scratch too. So, Nazar, over to you on this. Was there a time when you took a big risk? Obviously I know there has been. What was that risk? How did you evaluate it, and what happened?
Yeah, I mean, firsthand, Ryan. I think the biggest risk I took was just doing this.
I still recall the day. I still
Yeah.
did. You were in my office. I thought you were pulling my leg. I really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, and I mean, leaving, a pretty comfortable position in what I was doing before, and just again, we kind of talk all the time about passion and doing what you like and doing something that makes you happy at the end of the day. And as John mentioned earlier, like, you're going to be putting in a lot of hours and dedicating yourself to whatever it is you do, so you better enjoy it. And there was a sense of satisfaction in doing what we do, and I still have it today, which is great. But I think just leaving that corporate life and just trying to find my direction, I guess, if you will, because I had spent the previous 18 years plus, working for other people and following direction and trying to create a direction. But, sometimes there's speed bumps there, or hurdles and, and roadblocks and things. So, just leaving and doing that. And it's funny because John talked about, his biggest risk being franchising. And here I am at the opposite end now, ready to franchise. So I've known John for a long time, and you think I'd probably learn from him, but no, I think, as anybody knows too, franchising is not necessarily for every company as well. And I think we have, the business model that we can do it successfully. But again, it's I'm at that kind of second risk now, if you will. So leaving my corporate life to do this was the first one, and now we're going to look at doing this.
I think, Nazar, with some of the work that I had done in my past with franchising, I think there's franchising to grow your business, and there's franchising to grow your brand, and they are two distinctly different things, and that's something that I know I've learned in my history as well. Let's talk a little about failing, because we all have, myself included. John, what have you learned from your failures to sort of keep going? And when was that time when you went and said, okay, I can either fail and keep digging, to use your words, or I can use this as learning and actually get better and move forward? Was there a time when you thought that, and can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, our motto here is fail often and fail cheaply.
Yeah.
So it gives us the opportunity to try new things, and we're always trying new things. But we're also smart enough to not bet the whole house on one idea. And we have meetings weekly, and we bring sort of new IT ideas to the table, and literally we say, okay, let's try this. And sometimes 80% of the time they don't work. But the 20% of the time they do work, they're home runs.
Yeah.
And the 20% of home runs pay for the 80% 10 times over. And so we're not afraid. I'm never afraid to try new things. People are like, oh, that doesn't work. I don't like that idea. We fail often, fail cheaply, and just, we learn from everything we do. And that's the only way to move forward. Because as soon as you become complacent, you become like, that's your step one of literally of not moving forward, and all of a sudden you find yourself behind the 8 ball. And in this business, and not just any business, like I any concept, is the ability to move forward. And the ability to move forward is based on the fact of you taking chances on new ideas, new concept, and some of them will work out and some of them will not. But the idea is, you keep moving forward with new ideas and taking chances.
It's funny, John, I spent a week at McDonald's University, when I was at an executive retreat, and I asked one of the executives there about their pizza. Some of you would remember that years and years ago, they had a pizza with McDonald's, and people thought, like, what are you doing? You're changing that around. And I asked one of their product people, I went and I said, what was your thoughts? And, why'd you do that? Why'd you offer pizza? And the man looked at me dead in the eye, says, why not? And he says, the worst thing that we're going to do is fail, but then we'll know that we don't have to do it again. And I remember thinking to myself, for a corporation like that to risk its brand, risk its identity on one thing, whether you like the darn pizza or not, it was pretty noble and it was pretty brave. And it was something that always stuck in the back of my mind when it came to being brave within business. Nasir, how about you? I mean, you've had quite the ramp up in the last little bit, but I'm sure there's times you've made a mistake. I'm sure there's times you've failed. Has there been one? What's it been, and what have you learned?
Yeah, I think and John probably attests to this, I think, as well. But for us, I think like many businesses, one of the biggest challenges is people, and just trying to find the right people. And if you want to call it a failure, but just hiring the wrong people sometimes can really hurt your business as well. Just like John mentioned with the bad franchisor, for a franchisee, for example, can hurt your business and your brand. And I think for me, just trying to make sure we find the right people, and sometimes you don't know what you're getting until you try them as well, and that comes part and parcel with trying new ideas and taking risks and that sort of thing. So you take a risk on people, but there was a point, I think, early on where my first kind of, you want to call it failure, I think, was maybe not bringing somebody on soon enough, and thinking that I was this Superman that could handle everything, and run the back end of the business and the front end of the business, be in the field, do everything. And took me a little bit of time to grasp the confidence, I guess, that what, if I bring somebody in, I'm probably going to be more efficient and maybe healthier because I was getting stressed and tired. So I think just trying to do that, the timing of bringing somebody in, and then from there it became the challenge, and the risk changed into actually finding the right people going forward. And we're blessed. I've got a great team right now, and wouldn't want to lose anybody, but it's taken some time to get there, and some failures in between in the hiring process.
I'll say this term, and people will think that it's a very harsh way to say it, but sometimes you want to hire slow and fire fast. And it's just the reality of being a business owner. Sometimes is you have to make those decisions. And I always would say, when people would come to me and say, we're going to let a certain individual go, I said, if you felt you've done everything you possibly could do to make them successful and it hasn't worked, then you've already made the decision a long time ago. And so sometimes when it comes to people, that's extremely important. Gentlemen, the two things I think I'm going to take away from this session, Nasir, that you had just said there, sometimes your biggest challenge is your people. And I think as an entrepreneur, you are very protective of your brand, your image, and your business. And sometimes those relationships, they can be personal too, because you almost take that as an entrepreneur as it's a personal slight against you if someone doesn't show up for work, because it is your life and it is your livelihood. And I've learned that as well. And next, John, when it comes to a comment you made here, I love the fact that you said, we're going to fail often and fail cheaply. That's a takeoff of something I used to say, saying, fail often and fail fast, is to make the decision. But I like the cheaply part, because as entrepreneurs, we have to keep that in mind too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, gentlemen, thank you so very much for the time today, for what you've given our audience. And as always, I really enjoy speaking to you both. You've had a fantastic career, and you've made two very successful businesses out of ideas, vision, and a whole lot of guts. And I really respect that a ton. So thank you very much. And thanks everybody for joining us this afternoon.
Appreciate it. Thanks as well, Ray.